welcome back. We will discuss what is happening in DeFi, what's going on. We will explore together why DeFi is a paradigm shift in the financial industry as we know it today. Welcome back to the On-DeFi channel. Today I'm sitting here in Curacao, and I'm here at my villa in Curacao at the Royal Villas, which is a really nice time to get a little bit of headspace of this whole DeFi craze and everything that's going on, but still focused on building and pushing the space forward. And today we're actually gonna have a small pool party together. And for this pool party, I invited Bill and Joshua to join. They are basically the real pool party starters, and we can get rid of COVID-19 and bring back the last summer, but we can give you a new kind of pool party, and that's why we're here today. Maybe Joshua and Bill, introduce yourselves a little bit and tell a little bit who you are, what you're doing in the space.
Yeah, Joshua, do you want to start off?
Sure. Hi, Joshua. I came into the space in 2017. My first job was with Consensus as a business developer for Panvala, which is a DAO that is kind of hard to explain. But it was the selling corporate sponsorships for Panvala. That was my first role, and so I was able to bring a couple corporate sponsorships of a DAO, and that was at Consensus that I met Bill.
Nice. Cool, guys.
Yep. I'm Bill Warren. So I've been curious about the space since 2015 when I read the Ethereum white paper as a law student. But then went to a big law firm in New York doing startup and fintech stuff, and then took the plunge full time in 2018 to start Peeps Democracy, which started out as a spoke of Consensus before we spun out. And we've been building DAOs for almost 2 years now. We started with DAOs focused on nonprofits and politics, and now we've moved to Pool-Party, which is DAOs meet DeFi, and the hope is that it'll still be used for plenty of public goods support, but also to do some fun things and empower people to get into DeFi in a safer and more responsible way.
Yeah, I really like what you guys are doing, and also I've read, of course, all the links to all the products that we will mention today are in the description below. And yeah, basically, Pool Party is a project from the Peeps DAO, right? So it's a DAO that you created with a group of smart, talented people like yourself. You have all like quite diverse backgrounds. Bill, you're a Solidity developer now, but you started in law, which is very funny. A lot of people from the legal space, they go into DeFi. You also see this with Stani from Aave. He's also a lawyer, and then also went to Solidity and DeFi. So you started Peeps DAO, and then Pool Party is a child of Peeps DAO, or how do I need to see that?
Yeah, so Pool Party is kind of like the next evolution of Peeps DAO. You know, one thing we kept on hearing with, the people that participated in Peeps DAO was, one, can I do DeFi stuff with this? And two, can we do more goal-based fundraising, like set a minimum goal? Once we get there, we can spend the funds. And after Joshua and I had a conversation about buying a timeshare somewhere or like Apocalypse Hideout, we figured out, well, there's probably a way that we could take Peeps DAO, morph it into something more interesting, and go beyond just people saving for Apocalypse Hideouts and crypto islands, and instead really empower them to do a lot of different stuff by building DeFi into a simple DAO framework.
Amazing.
And I maybe should have mentioned during my intro, but I'll mention it now. The real focus for me in this project is the user acquisition piece. I, before Consensus, was working at Lyft for 3 years in driver growth, onboarding, and user acquisition. And so one of the things that I keep reading in DeFi is that people don't understand the Legos. Like there was a Blockfolio poll, and a really high percentage, I can't remember the number, of people didn't understand any piece beyond like moving your ETH into MetaMask, maybe swapping it on Uniswap, yes. But none of the Legos that we're playing with now, they don't even remotely care about. And so we're hoping that by gamifying savings, we're really able to kind of bring people into a higher Lego without realizing, or without having to go through the trouble of going through Legos 2, 3, 4, and 5.
Yeah. You don't have to get Wi-Fi to get Peeps or Pool Party, so it's a big advantage, we hope.
Yeah, I do see that, and when I looked into the Peepsa and Pool Party, it seems to be a fork of the Moloch DAO version 2, right? So for people that are listening to the channel, I think not everybody is familiar with Moloch DAO. Moloch DAO is one central piece of the whole DAO evolution where we are now, I think, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so Moloch DAO was kind of like the rebirth of DAOs in a lot of ways. I mean, Aragon and DAO Stack have been out there and working on stuff for a while, but when Moloch DAO came out in like 2018, people started to pay attention to DAOs again. And one of the cool things about the Moloch framework is it started out as a permission DAO. So unlike some of the Aragon DAOs and DAO Stack DAOs, there was no token. It's just like, do the existing members think you're a cool enough person to get into the DAO? Which we thought was really kind of important for what we're trying to do with pool parties. So Moloch V2 came out in the fall, and then early this summer, I started working with Ross Campbell, who's another guy in LexDAO, to create this like multi-summoner Moloch that eventually became the Moloch Mystic. And Pool Party, to be exact, is kind of like an fork of the early Mystic DAO, because it allows for a group of people to form a DAO at the outset, and then from then on, it's still like pretty permission. So you can start your pool party with 10 friends, and then to add that 11th friend, they have to be voted in. It's not just like they can go buy some token on Uniswap and then crash your pool party. No, it's all about kind of letting people in that you trust and creating communities rather than like token crazes.
Yeah, that sounds really interesting. So basically now the evolution to Pool Party, and it's a very simple concept. Is as I understand it correctly, is well, let's say we want to start a pool and we want to buy a villa with a pool, like we are today. So we can do that is we park our funds in a Pool Party pool, and we then say, okay. Let's say, Bill, you are we say, okay, Bill, you're the person that decides what happens to the funds when the goal is reached. And in between, if I want to quit, you can just quit, but then you only lose your interest. So you always still have control over the money. Well, if the goal is reached and you all vote for that, okay, you can spend my money now and let's buy this item. Until that point, you can all just quit, but you will lose the interest that is generated, right?
So we've taken a slightly different approach with losing the interest, but yeah, that's the basic idea. Is right. Say you and a bunch of friends want to buy an amazing villa. You can create the Pool Party DAO with those friends. People can start throwing their DAI into the pool. That DAI is automatically put into a balancer platform called Idle that maximizes the interest on that DAI. And then you save up until you hit the amount you need to buy the villa. And at that point, one of the members of the DAO will probably volunteer and say, yeah, I'll do all like the difficult work of the paperwork and finding a realtor and all of that. and you can release money via vote to that member or to the real estate agent or the seller or whoever. Until you hit that goal, though, you can't spend the money as a group. However, you can rage quit your funds out without too much of a penalty. That way, right, there's a lot of safety in the fact that if, we all went in to buy a villa in Curacao, but now half the group wants to buy a villa in Malaysia, right, you can always exit with your funds, most of your interest, and find your Curacao peep somewhere else.
Exactly, and of course, Villa is a big example, but you can also do this with you have a interesting blog post which I will link below in the description as well. Where there's a lot of examples you gave of a holiday together with friends, or buying a new television at home with your housemates or something like that.
Yeah,
all pretty cool examples.
Yeah, and I think as we've seen the DeFi world develop a little bit and gas fees get super expensive, one of the new examples that we're looking into is, right, if you want to get in a pool with like 100 people and start an investment club, you can kind of like distribute the gas fees across everybody, and rather than having like 100 people like myself and Joshua that don't have whale money to put in these platforms, you can collectively have some whale money to put in the platforms, which is pretty cool in a way to kind of like democratize DeFi a little bit if people want to go there and get fancy.
Yeah, one of my favorite aspects of the protocol is that if we were to do this outside in, say, a banking relationship, for Bill and I and a couple friends to save up our money together, we'd have to go to the bank together and put our names on the bank account together. Maybe I don't know one of Bill's friends too well, and I don't know if they're just going to liquidate it. So this protects each of us because our principal is only controlled by our own share in the DAO. And then with the pool of money, you're going to earn like less than 1% in a bank account.
Yeah.
But by being able to use DeFi, once you pool your money together, and you're sitting on I don't know, maybe 50, 100, 150,000, and you know that, the next sushi is happening next week. The funds don't just have to sit there. It's not like a CD where you're locked in the US dollar for 9 months to a year and a half. You can write a proposal and say, hey, we'd like to take these funds and we'd like to invest in sushi, for example. We'd like to go into the sushi ETH pool, and we'd like to take some of our money and put it into the Link ETH pool or something. And so it's highly customizable in what you're able to do with your investments. It's not just, DAI sitting in a bank.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's really cool. Okay, that's really cool. And I think there's even more, like over time, you will get much in-depth more examples. I think, sushi is an example, but I think still of that, maybe for the general people, or I think sushi is quite interesting, but I hope people will eventually also see like, okay, let's together maybe build a protocol on like a company, an idea that we have, and let's pool money together and build this decentralized distributed organization for insurance companies, and build in a fee sharing model that maybe shares back to our DAO pool or something like that. I mean, then you get like DAOs on DAOs on DAOs. It's like quite,
and if you think about how the last step is structured, you really could do it anyway. So Bill and I and a couple friends, we're going to buy a villa somewhere. Maybe it's in Curacao. Probably will be in the United States, but once we have once we've raised enough funds and we've hit that threshold, and then we pass a proposal to, let's say I'm the one who's finding the realtor to give Joshua access to the money to move it and form an LLC and draw up all the paperwork. All that happens off chain. And so if it's specific to this, like a house, you could do it anything that has an LLC. You can wrap anything.
I wonder
Yeah.
if, like, with legal compliance, I'm not a lawyer. Maybe Bill can answer this question, right? So we have something like open law, right? Let's say the DAO that we form in the smart contract area, we form and we want to buy this property, like a house or whatever, like a real world asset. Can the DAO then represent a entity in itself, or how would you describe this?
Yeah. Yeah, so absolutely. And it's worth mentioning Pri and Aaron from Open Law are also co-founders of Peeps Democracy. So, really love what they've been doing with Open Law. And that's absolutely the kind of nice thing about DAOs and their flexibility is if you want to do a DAO to buy property or start a company in more and more states in the US, right? You can set up a Delaware LLC or a Wyoming LLC and say, rather than a bank account, our shares and our capital and everything is represented by this DAO at contract address, whatever. And then you have a legal wrapper for what you're doing and the liability protection that comes along with it. So, from the pool party perspective, we're just providing you with a kind of like super flexible piece of software for managing collective funds and earning some interest on it. But, beyond that, you can do whatever you want or need to do to kind of come up with some really cool use cases, including ones where you can have that legal wrapper and feel pretty protected and, legitimized in the pre-Web3 world.
Wow.
We did a kind of soft poll of friends of like what you could use this for. And one of the coolest ideas that came back was like a PTA or a school board type using this, where instead of a traditional bank account, a treasurer and a president, and they just have total control over it, each of the parents or teachers who are part of this PTA can be part of a DAO that they've put money into, and they can vote on what they'd like to spend the money on. So it's a lot more democratizing than delegating, I guess, to an elected representative.
Yeah.
That is really interesting. And can you that's really interesting. And can you maybe like, because then I see Pool Party as a really good introduction for everybody to understand this concept much better. And that's really cool. How do you mitigate the gas fees? Because you just said, like, if let's say we start a pool together with the three of us, and the problem now, if I want to join a pool, I pay $10 probably gas fee, $20 gas fees. How do we mitigate this? So how is your plan for that?
Yeah, so for our mainnet launch, which is probably coming later this week or early next week, we're using this new EIP 1167, which is basically this kind of like contract template setup that means you can launch pool parties pretty cheap. You're not paying, hundreds of dollars to launch a smart contract. But that doesn't really quite solve the problem that you raised, which is joining, and the fact that joining could be, like anywhere from $5 to $20 depending on the day. So early on, our roadmap is moving to a layer 2 solution. We're looking at the scale network. We're looking at XDAI because we think that, in the medium to long term, we're really going to need to rely on layer 2s where people can vote and do membership management and all of that stuff for pennies, and then just pay the high gas fees when they want to exit their assets back onto layer 1, the main Ethereum network. So, we're hoping that with the more public launch of Scale in October, we can quickly move on to their network since they provide one nice little bit of functionality that's not on XDAI yet. But we're going layer 2 hard just because.
And which functionality is that you're mentioning? Can you maybe tell a little bit about the functionality that you were looking for?
Yeah, so the functionality that's really important and core to what we're doing with pool parties is we need something that when you put your DAI on the layer 2 into one of the pools, it mints you an idle token or an Aave token or whatever the DeFi token is going to be on mainnet. That way, when you cash out of the pool, you can either cash out into the layer 2 DAI or cash out directly into your mainnet, like idle or Aave token. And the Scale network, at least as we've been talking to them thus far, has an experimental way of doing that layer 2 to layer 1 minting versus XDAI. I'm not sure if they've got that yet. But you know, we're bullish on any kind of EVM compatible layer 2 scaling solution that allows you to mint from layer 2 to layer 1. I mean, our focus is completely on our users and making it like easy for them to use and not having layer 2 add multiple steps from the end user perspective.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. We don't need another pointless new chain.
Yeah, or like 5 new MetaMask transactions to sign, right?
No, indeed. Yeah, it's a ongoing issue, but yeah. So, but I see Ethereum as this main layer where we will sync back into, and we have a layer 2 where we do all the small transaction. Once we have this main contract, the main agreements, we sync this back to the zero trust layer of Ethereum, and from there we formulate our agreements, our real-world assets on the blockchain, and then we move forward with our purchases or with our distribution of funds. I think that makes a lot of sense. And what you said with Scale, that this needs to be seen, but that we can then mint if, let's say, you pay out a dividend, or you pay out maybe you pay out as a DAO, or you need to do a payment from a contract, you can actually send this payment directly to the main Ethereum chain, right? That is super awesome.
Being able to mint, just because like not all of the DeFi platforms are on any one layer 2 solution, and I think that's like generally a good thing that there are a couple layer 2s out there. Like I also work on DAO House, which has chosen XDAI as the layer 2 and is really kind of like smooth and working well. Like we want multiple layer 2s. We just also want those layer 2s to allow people to mint tokens back onto layer 1 so that you don't have to like replace Compound on 3 different layer 2s and replace Aave on 3 different layer 2s.
It's not going to work. I think will be, I really love the concept, but the question is, if we move into Ethereum 2.0, how will these layer 2s will probably be absorbed in shards, I think. Right, and then for now, it's for the time being, we need the layer 2s, we need the XDAIs, the proof of authority networks, we need the Scale networks, and then when we have Ethereum 2.0, I think these layer 2s will also find their own niche, and then you get the main Ethereum the shards as layer 2.0, and that's fine. And I think as well, like there will be networks in the future, but these will be more like centralized networks. I think there will be one zero trust layer, or maybe it's, I don't know. I think there will be only one zero trust layer eventually that will absorb most of the value. But yeah, let's see where it is moving. And in terms of like, these are very cool concepts. You mentioned now we can make a investment goal. We invest together, we pool the interest, and we can vote on cool purchase that we do with that. How is the pool party DAO in itself? How are you incentivizing yourself to keep on maintaining it or keep on working on it? How do you manage that?
Yeah, that's a great question. So we are planning on releasing a rewards token. That's kind of like really close on our roadmap so that pool creators and pool participants will start earning party, as we're going to call the token, because we think that one, community is kind of the only moat that works in this space, right? The projects with strongest communities are the ones that do the best. You know, I think like Aave is a great example of that. Wi-Fi is a great example of that. You know, so we've realized that we probably need a token to incentivize that kind of community creation layer.
Mm-hmm.
And then, that just sets us up for a future in which we can give potentially more governance to that community and allow them to create like a party DAO that does more of the decision making for Pool Party in the future. Because, like, I think as Josh and I have found out, we come up with some good ideas for different things we can do with Pool Party, but it's only really by including others in the conversation have we come up with the best ideas. And we want to continue that as we launch and as we grow.
We also don't have the personal finances to do everything that we'd like to do by ourselves.
Yep, that's right.
If we want the villa in Curacao, something else has to give.
Yeah.
I understand. Yeah, but I think exactly, but it makes a lot of sense. And I think projects, Stani also, he recently had a Bankless podcast, and there he also mentions that bootstrapping a token is not necessarily a bad thing. And I think it's all about the way you structure it. And I think when you say, listen, we have the Pool Party token, there needs to be a certain function to Pool Party token. I would say when you create maybe next versions of the pool, or when maybe people do a certain purchase, that there is some sort of an economic metric in this token, then it makes a lot of sense to use the token. And I'm sure you guys will come up with a mechanism to give the Pool Party token some sort of value, but that will be then, in my opinion, also determined by the people that are using the pools, right? So I think the pool will be minted. You guys will keep innovating, and then the community will decide, okay, maybe from every pool, maybe every real world asset pool that is also connected to open law, that is, all things we talked about, that will then have a small fee share back into the Pool Party token, which makes a lot of sense, right? And then there is future cash flow that will come if the Pool Party DAO is successful. And I think it makes very logical sense to then start minting these tokens, and then also have a small small token part for the team. And I think there is also a lot of grants available, right? So with quadratic funding on the Gitcoin grants, for example, I talked with Andre like a week ago, and he also is very much for supporting the ecosystem, giving Gitcoin grants, things like that.
So that's exactly right. I mean, we see our role in the token creation piece as just kind of like creating the token, putting out a plan that we think is sensible, but then really letting the community run with it and do what they need to do, and figure out whether they want an economic or governance role. We'll support the community no matter what. And, like you said, with the Gitcoin grant piece, we also plan, part of our plan and what we'd like to see for the token is for some of the tokens to go to projects like Gitcoin or Whaler DAO or other kind of very public goods ecosystem focused projects, so that it does flow back into the community. Because, we've really benefited from the work that all of these other people have done in laying the foundations for like robust DeFi and space and robust Ethereum infrastructure. And so it would be kind of like selfish and short-sighted of us if we didn't pay it forward and pay it back a lot.
It's very difficult to structure a new project in a way where there is alpha. Whales are going to try to seek it and control all of it. So we're trying our best to make sure that it's not just a whale attracting thing, and there's actually a community that can grow, and that somebody who's saving $10 a week has just as much incentive to continue saving their $10 a week for their larger savings goals. And we don't want them to be deterred by thinking it's a whale game.
Exactly. Obviously, no whales can fit in my pool.
Yes, I think that makes a lot of sense because you also say there's only two ways to join a pool: as a founding party or via a vote
Mhm.
of the existing members. And once you're a member, you
Yep.
don't have to do a proposal each time you want to add more crypto to the pool, unless you try to go over 50% of your voting shares. So if there's a
Mhm.
certain bracket, like if you go over this 50%, yeah, then it stops. Then
Yeah.
basically all the other people need to become more, inject more money as well, and then it can grow more
Yeah.
democratized. But these pools will be
Yeah.
also, I think, more customizable, right? So that once the contract is released, once the main protocol is launched, you were talking also about the real world assets with the LLCs and those parts. Is there already a clear roadmap to do these functions, or is this all still in an idea phase?
So we haven't added like an open law integration into our roadmap. I think that we probably will work with organizations like LexDAO to kind of like figure out whether it makes sense to put that in our roadmap. And
Yeah.
because our project is open source, we're hoping that people will start to like also build plugins and add-ons for it, much in the same way that kind of like DAO House is encouraging that.
Mhm.
Because right, like we're like Joshua said, we don't have the personal or Peeps doesn't have the financial ability right now to build everything that it wants. And just for getting community buy-in, it'd be great to have community members build into our platform. That's part of the reason we made the smart contracts as flexible as we possibly could. And then in the future, with the advent of Moloch or Mystic v3, which is probably still like 5 or 6 months away, to be honest, uh, we'll probably build a version of Pool Party off of that, and then it will be ultra customizable. It'll be even more gas efficient, so that way people can get like 10 times more creative with how they build their pools, how they structure kind of the internal mechanics and behaviors and community rules for their pool.
That's really interesting. And do you also, yeah, it's also if you look into, for example, a melon port is also a little bit like that, but it's a little bit more catered toward like the institutional money, I guess,
Mm-hmm.
because melon port also pools funds together and then has this one manager, yeah, deciding what happens to the funds. Um, so that's quite interesting. And in your case, it's different. So you see already these different implementations going.
Mm-hmm.
We also see more like pool parties for like a some sort of like a set token setup, right? Where you have like a automatic rebalancing strategy, or
Mm-hmm.
in this case more maybe like a money manager type of person that is behind the pool that he's created.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's one kind of cool thing about the first iteration of Pool Party. And another piece that's like close on our roadmap is we're relying on idle finance, which does a great job of like optimizing for yield or safety already.
Yeah.
So, you don't have to make a ton of decisions if you're a DeFi noob about like which protocol you're using to earn interest and save funds. But that's updatable and upgradable within the smart contracts by the community. So if your Pool Party community decides like, idle's great, but instead we want to do Aave or this other balancer protocol, we're trying to make it possible for the community to move on to those. And then beyond that, with just the proposal functions, you can also, right, take the funds in the Pool Party and put them wherever you want, as long as it's kind of ERC20 compatible. The world is your oyster.
One of
Amazing.
the one of the neat things that we think up with these is, so like when you get closer to retirement, you've got this portfolio, and the idea is more to live off the interest than on the principal, because then your principal can continue growing. Um, you kind of could see a pool the same way, where you get 10 people together, you've got this giant pool, and maybe you don't want to spend it on anything, or maybe it's for retirement. You just have this interest that's kicking out because they're in these high yield ponds. And then you could use it for a UBI. So let's say you've got, 2,000 people in it, but you'd like to provide, but you'd like to provide for other individuals who are maybe not in it. So you put in the UBI to distribute to like 1,200 addresses when it's 1,000 people going in, and then you've got 200 people who are getting basically interest off of your principal.
Yeah, that's really cool concept. Yeah, and I like the way that it's now more democratized, so it's more like open for everybody. It's you make it with a very nice UI over it and very playful. I like if you go to the website, it's very playful and it's very fun to interact with. I think already. And when will be the first release date? When are you guys planning to release the first?
Yeah, Joshua says yesterday. As the cautious developer, former lawyer, I say probably kind of like late this week, maybe into next week. But it's really coming soon. We're just finishing up the smart contract testing, doing our front end polishing, and this week Joshua's probably going to be the first person rage kicked from a pool party on Kovan. So. Once we make sure that works so that people can rage kick people, I think we're good to go.
Yeah, we're not doing the whole test and production thing. Bill's doing a testing in testing phase.
Yeah.
So hopefully that means that when we do launch, that it's smooth sailing, because we did all the kinks in testing.
Yeah. We really want. Yeah, I mean, one advantage.
That said.
Joshua wants to launch fast. But that said, even when we do launch, even though it'll be after our very cautious launch period, there will be extra incentives for what I'm calling alpha swimmers into our pool party, the first alpha testers. Yeah, that's correct. We're trying to incentivize the alpha testers because they are kind of taking a risk on a tested but not audited platform. And nothing in this DeFi space is without risk, but we do want to differentiate ourselves from some of the quick copycat or test and production projects where our ideas, we're talking about creating something for people to manage their own money. We don't want to mess with that at all. So we think it's good to take a little bit more of a cautious approach.
Yes. And on that note, we think that it's much better when somebody who's a complete noob to crypto or to DeFi finds us instead of one of these rager DeFi games. As part of being a community manager, I'm in a lot of communities because you're meeting lots of people in these Discords. And it's always astounding to me where you're on the top brick Lego, the very newest thing that had could possibly come out. And you're in this Discord, with people who are asking what's MetaMask? And it's just, it's mind blowing. How is it that you possibly found the deepest layer without going through any of the other building blocks to understand how it is that you arrived here? Somehow you stumbled upon the harvest farm community. It's how did you find it without having a Coinbase, MetaMask, Binance, any of the other very,
people are very smart sometimes, I guess. People are all people, but I mean, sometimes I mean, how do we ourselves get into encrypted? So I think sometimes you get this brain fart or this this insight of everything clicks and you just maybe jump some steps and then you forget. And then you're in sushi swap or you're in protocol. But I think indeed, Pool Party is much more educational because like when you're in Sushi Swap, yeah, you learn about a liquidity provider, you learn about MetaMask. But I think the most, a very important thing about the space is to learn about some core DeFi primitive concept, which liquidity provision is one. But I think DAOs are also, I think maybe even more important to understand why are we all doing this? Because if you provide liquidity, it's like token to token sell, it's just like, okay, that's it, right? But a DAO,
there's a lot of,
it's much more.
sorry, there's a lot of vertically integrated education that is a part of Pool Party, because you have the zero to from fiat to crypto on board through MetaMask. You have the MetaMask layer. You have governance in being part of a DAO. Then you have understanding kind of the basic DeFi interest rates with the idle integration. You're able to put other ERC20s in there that don't necessarily integrate with idle, but they don't earn that interest. They're just kind of pool funds. And then another step above that is once you've reached this funding goal, you then just have this pot of money that's kind of unrestricted except for the governance component. And you and your fellows could say like, all right, we want to save for another 2 years, but we'd like to just take all of the things, all of our assets converted into waifu. And then you're just sitting on, 5 or 6 Wi-Fi that just sit there, and then you can continue to add other things to the pool. And you've just converted your treasury the way some companies are starting to hold Bitcoin. So there's just so many layers to what people are learning when entering the space. And we'll have a full documentation on things that they can, like, what is this? What are you doing? How is this parallel to something else that's going on in the space?
Yeah, I really agree. I really like that as well. I think like what I miss from a lot of concepts still, and I would like to hear your opinion on this as well. Somebody told me once, I was having a discussion with him, just a phone call actually, catching up. And he said to me, well, Amadeo, we will only hit the DeFi bull market once people understand what TCRs and dynamic bonding curves are. Once that concept fix,
maybe.
I think TCR is also, I think it's a bit, we'll not go into that more in that, but I think eventually maybe also that can also go into Pool Party, where you create a list of most interesting pools. And, you also introduce people to that concept. And then there's also a value of the token potentially. There's a TCR that functions with the Pool Party token, right? So then you get all this, that's quite, but there's so much possibilities. And I think you guys take the correct approach of starting now with this Pool Party. And we're now in this really nice environment. We're also the pool. We want to start a Pool Party. And I look very much forward to using the protocol. And I also want to say, once you guys go in alpha, I would be happy to test it out. And also with my community that we make a pool. Let's put a couple of dollars together, start a nice pool, see how much interest we can make. Let's start with idle finance, which indeed I think is a smart choice. It's one of the first DeFi protocols, I think, because it just
they were an early kind of like balancer protocol. So I met them through Consensus's Tachyon program and was really impressed by their team. And they've been doing kind of that, like, let's find the best interest rate amongst several kind of audited, established exchanges for a little while now. So that's why we went with them. Though there are plenty of like other great players in the DeFi space.
DeFi OGs, huh?
Right.
And to increase, customization and the different things that pool swimmers can do with it. Obviously, some of the others are on our roadmap. Right now, we're looking at Aave. But to the thing you said, my favorite quote, I don't know who it was, but they said that we're not truly in the bull market until there's a TCR of TCRs.
Right. That's kind of Inception kind of thing. But I mean, we can. There's a lot of things we still need to unravel and see how the economical experiences will play out. I hope that I will in my channel and in my in my circles, I will definitely also drop the Pool Party Alpha release and see if we can pool some funds together and just you get started. I think we are now a little bit in a more bearish sentiment, but then it's the time to really maybe get some stable coins and let's see.
I think we're in a bear trap.
I think we're in a bear trap as well. But then let's pool some funds, and then when we reach this goal, let's reinvest. Or there's a lot of cool, parameters.
The thing I'd like to add is that Pool Party really, while spending all of 10 years in a pool, will wrinkle your fingers and toes beyond belief. We at Pool Party are trying to encourage long-term saving investing. And so there's in terms of what we'd like to do with the rewards token, try to encourage people to stay in pools longer and increase reward or percent of reward based off of being in a pool or in a pool party longer. And there's a really neat competition that we kind of designed. I don't know, can I tease it, Bill? Is that all right?
Yeah, I mean, we're going to put out what our ideal version of the reward scheme would look like. And Joshua came up with this cool competition element. Hopefully the community will adopt it and be excited about it. So go ahead and show it.
Yeah, it could be terrible and they don't like it. So there's, it's an annual competition essentially, broken into 10 years. 10 years is kind of the sweet spot of where we'd like to be the end of the rewards release. But so it'd be the top 5 pools during each year-long period would get an additional reward, like a competition earning. And we think that may add a component of kind of larger communities coming together. I don't want to say like a DeFi wars type thing, more of like a communities trying to prove that they're able to save the most money against over another community. So I know my friends over at Bitcoin Malaysia, #1, are really excited about Pool Party. Jason Chu over there, and they're like really excited for the Malaysian community to take a stab at winning. So I think that'll be a neat thing to see if that takes off.
I like that idea. I never heard that actually before. Well, I mean, it's a common idea, but I never saw that really implemented in crypto. So you're saying that the pool that locks up the longest, like there's a 10-year distribution, and the pool that locks up like this full 10 years will get like a special prize or like the
so it's not about
within 10 years.
It's not necessarily about assets that are in the pool. It's about interest earned over the 10-year period. And so it's not about just like take a whale just coming in and leaving it there for like a week and then moving on to something else. It's really about staying through the 10 years so that you're earning that interest the entire time.
Yes, and then basically adjusting the pool in such a way that it's the highest interest yielding pool over a 10-year time frame. And then at the end of that 10 years, there's a prize potentially to be earned.
At the end of each year, there's a prize for top 5. And then at the end of the 10 years, there would be an overall who wins the whole 10 years. So it's 11 competitions, essentially.
Nice. I really like that idea. That sounds really super awesome. And I think indeed you can see where the people that really put their money where their mouth is. Like there's some these communities or groups, and you can see who's the biggest and the smartest community in town. I really like that. I would love to participate in that as well, together with Bitcoin Malaysia or other Bitcoin groups, and see where we can we can compete and win those prizes. And the prizes then will be paid out in party tokens, right? Or
yeah, it's like a little kind of end of year bonus for the like best pools almost that's paid out. It's not like huge. Most of when we kind of think about how we would like to see the rewards handed out, most of it's still about like just being in there day to day, accumulating assets, keeping them in the pool for a longer period of time. But yeah, we thought like as to add a little bit more fun, why not do these end of year kind of like bonus contests and reward the pools that earn the most interest over a year, and then do a final one, mostly because like my distribution curve for 10 years left over some like random amounts, and Josh was like, let's take that and make it a contest, which I thought was really awesome.
Perfect. I love it. It's a great idea, and I think it makes a lot of sense to do that. And there will be only one prize, or you will have multiple prizes, or like.
So there's.
It'll be like, yeah, go ahead.
So it would be so the macro would be the competition, and there's 11 contests where the top 5 pools will split those. I think the way I had designed it was like the first place gets about 50%, and then it's half from there down to 5th. But there would also be a like smaller periods. So the 10-year period is broken down into 360 10-day periods, and during each of those 10-day periods,
360 30-day periods with 10-day sub periods.
That, yes, what he just said. There are smaller, so it's not just about the like long 1 year. It's also because giving the nod to like the DeFi degen craze, they need a dopamine hit every 10 days, and so having like a distribution that that rewards interest earned in those 10-day periods that reset every 10-day period, it makes it so that somebody who's new to the platform isn't so far behind that they're like, screw it, I'm not going to play, because each 10-day period is its own start.
Yeah. Like every 10 days, we'll take tokens, or we anticipate taking tokens from the main rewards contract, putting it into like the sub rewards contract, so that people who participated during those 10 days can claim their rewards. And each 10-day period, the rewards in that bucket get a little bit less. So, the way we're imagining it, there's more incentive for early adopters. But even if you join year 9, there's still some party to be earned by participating.
Nice, perfect. I'm really excited to get started and with our community or other communities to see if we can win the pool party prize.
Yeah,
it's a very fun way of indeed still having that DeFi dopamine hits for people, and also putting in some educational learnings of like, what is a DAO and where is this all moving? Why are we all doing this? So it's really, really, really nice. Yeah, when I want to end with like encouraging people to join Pool Party together with myself. I also would love to create a pool party together with Joshua or Bill. Together we can make a small pool party, maybe to achieve some goals of maybe promoting.
What's a big purchase that you'd like to make?
For example, let's say we promote. We want to make a small pool party, and we promote, like, let's say we want $50 for a promotion of a video or something like that. We can do that, and I would be happy to pool some funds together with that as well as a nice experiment.
I don't think I'd recommend doing it for a $50 savings goal.
Like maybe
because of gas. I'd rather just send you the $50.
Yeah, that's true. Well, I mean, I don't want to overstretch it, because like to promote a video, like it's not that expensive.
Yeah,
so I think
we don't need $500,000.
No,
but you're in Curacao. Do you have a boat?
Yes.
Oh, you do have a boat. Okay,
well, available.
Cool. Well, maybe like an upgrade for the boat.
Yes, we can do that.
A helicopter to land on the boat.
Yeah, we can put a helicopter pad on your boat.
That would be super cool.
Yeah, but we should definitely start a pool together. I'm in.
Yeah,
Yeah,
let's start a community building pool, and it would love I'd
Yeah.
love to be also more active and see how we can with this community building pool make like a meme factory or something. I like Base.
Yeah.
The Base protocol does this very well because they have this meme factory incentives, like it's the meme contests, right? We can make a pool party for the meme factory or things like that. It would be super awesome if we can do that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That would be
if the
awesome.
community wants to set aside some party for meme contests, that is something I would be excited to see. I love seeing memes of a pool party.
Yeah.
Yes, and I think that we can build some really awesome memes out of this, especially with the name Pool Party. It's
There's a lot of material to work with there.
It's easy material to work with. Now we're here in the pool. I will shoot some nice photos for me sitting here doing the interview, so we can use that or your photos as well. Maybe Bill, you want to show your pool as well a little bit before we?
Yeah, my pool. Right.
Yeah.
It's my Carolina pool there. Getting in
Nice.
the pool a little bit.
Nice. I'm in Palm Springs on vacation with my family in the movie colony.
Yeah.
Oh, the
Yeah,
sun's coming
Joshua's
up.
got a nice pool.
Woo!
Beautiful.
Oh,
And I'm
there we
here
go.
in Royal Villas, and we have this pool here. I hope you can see it, but the lighting is a bit bad, but I guess people can see it.
Yeah,
Nice.
when when you take yourself out of the shot, it's actually really nice.
Yeah.
Not that you're not nice. It's the light.
Can you
Yeah.
mode and then automate? Automate modes. I'm asking her to do automation mode. Yeah, but okay. Anyway, so I will shoot some photos of this location and put that also in the thumbnail, which we will use. So it's pretty cool. Yeah, guys.
Cool.
So let's make it a wrap, and let's make the agreement that we will start a pool together. We will determine a funding goal as promotion, meme factories, or let's see. I would like to actually make a small DAI pool that we can use for community promotion, and I would also be happy to chip in there as well because I really like what you guys are building. I think it's a very good, core infrastructure piece that we need to actually make this DeFi experiment into something that will actually stick and stay and grow into something with more real world value. And a pool party still is, of course, with interest rates, but I see it evolving towards real world assets, which I think are highly needed. And where can people find you? Starting with Bill, where can people best find you if they want to interact with you?
Yeah. So I guess I live mostly on Telegram, so definitely, and Discord now. So, the best place to find me is probably in the Pool Party Discord. We'll drop a link so that you can share that. I'm also on Twitter. I think my Twitter handle is WSWarren12, or the Pool Party Twitter, which is WeThePeeps_US.
Perfect. And Bill, where can people find you the best?
That was Bill.
Joshua.
This is so
Joshua.
Joshua,
sorry.
Yeah, I spend most of my time between Telegram and Discord. I'm also available in many Discord servers that I'm sure every single one of your listeners is at least in one of them. And then on Telegram, I'm at Joshua SL, and then my Twitter is JS Lapidus.
Perfect. All the links will be in the description below. And let's close off. We would love to make a pool together. And if anybody that is listening, you can send either me or Bill or Joshua a DM in Discord or on Twitter, and ask to participate in whatever pool or whatever questions they have about launching their own pools with their friends or families or communities. And let's get the pool party started together, and let's make it into an awesome new summery pool party all together, and let's enter the new DeFi bull run together in this coming months. Thank you very much, Bill and Joshua, for your time. It has been an amazing interview and amazing locations, and thanks very much, and thank you guys.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you again.
All right, guys. Thank you very, very much. Bye, guys.